So here's a couple of tips for how to talk to your doctor and who's the right doctor to talk to if you think you have a venous outflow obstruction. First off, there is something called Eagle's syndrome or Eagle syndrome. It was discovered by a guy named Dr. Eagle many, many years ago. It has to do with a specific situation in which elongated styloids wreak havoc specifically on the back of the throat. Now, there are some wonderful forums for Eagle syndrome, and I'll list some of those in the comments here. Incredibly helpful people. There's also, it seems like the Eagle syndrome umbrella of diagnoses has expanded now to include something called Eagle syndrome with a vascular component, whereby if the elongated styloid is causing an issue in the vascular system, then they're considering that to be Eagle syndrome with a vascular component. The challenge I have had with doctors is that it seems as soon as you say Eagle syndrome, they are thinking the classic Eagle syndrome where the styloids get so long, those bones hanging down, get so long that they actually start poking in the back of the throat and cause an incredible amount of pain. Some of them have gotten so long that they actually will start to poke through the back of the throat. And one of the procedures for removing the styloids is actually done through the mouth, through the back of the throat. But I digress. My suggestion is if a doctor is frowning or poo-pooing you or blowing you off because you've said Eagle syndrome, talk venous outflow obstruction. It's just a more specific terminology to exactly define the jugular vein being compressed by something, and then let them work it out from there, whether it's Eagle syndrome with a vascular. My surgeon takes the Eagle syndrome view of very specific throat-related issue, and he says anything else that's compressing the jugular vein is a venous outflow obstruction, regardless of what the cause is. So it's just another way to talk to doctors. I wanted to put that out there. Venous outflow obstruction or Eagle syndrome with a vascular component. If the doctor's having trouble with one of those phrases or the other, use the other. What kind of doctor do you see? You can certainly start with an ENT. My elongated styloids were found by an Atlas orthogonal chiropractor who was trying desperately to help me, and I really appreciate his efforts. And if not for him finding this, I wouldn't have even known to start to look in that area. So kudos to the Atlas orthogonal people who found the elongated styloids. That put me on the path. I did see ENTs, otolaryngologists. The base and skull spinal people seem to be the ones that really understand this. And you look up like Dr. Hepworth, Dr. Lowe, Costantino, there's a whole, Anino up in Boston. There's a whole group of people, and you can certainly find lists on who can help you. They seem to be more skull-based surgeons. But again, you got to find the right nomenclature, the right medical terms to use to get people to even look here. The primary test to check the veins is a CTA or a CTV, CT venogram with contrast. Get your imaging, throw it into a 3D viewer. There's plenty out there for Windows. Again, B viewer for Mac. I love it. It's free. It's cool. I can see a lot of neat stuff on there. Just some different thoughts on how to communicate with doctors and where to start if you think you have this issue.